Hello students, let us learn the first chapter of your geography textbook today. The name of the chapter is Resources. We use different items such as books, mobile phones, electricity, clothes, furniture, pen, paper, etc. in our everyday life. Why do we use them? Because they fulfill our needs. When any object or thing satisfies our need, it becomes a resource. They have utility or usefulness. That's why we use them. So, utility or usability gives an object or a substance its value. This value makes an object or a substance a resource. All resources have some value. What is the value? The meaning of value is the worth or the price of that substance. The importance of a resource lies on its economic value. What is economic value? Commercial value. When it is sold in the market, it will have a higher price. For example, metals may have higher economic value than that of landscapes. Both of these, like metals and landscapes, are capable of satisfying our needs, but their value is different. The economic or financial value of some resources changes with time. How does it change? The value, how does it change? Let us see. When you were suffering from stomach pain or when you were wounded, your grandmother might have given you some homemade remedies or some herbs. These herbs or homemade remedies that our grandmothers suggested for our illness may have no commercial value in today's time. However, if you get these remedies or herbs patented or you get the exclusive right over these homemade medicine, following certain procedures and sell it with the help of a medical firm, the economic value of those remedies and herbs would increase directly. There are two factors that are responsible for changing substances into resources. These are time and technology. Both time and technology are important for completing the needs of people. Even we, the people or human beings, are important resources. The creation of new resources has taken place only because of ideas, discoveries, knowledge or inventions carried on by people of different places. Every discovery or invention has led to several newer ones as well. Once fire was discovered, it led to people learning to cook. Similarly, as the wheel was discovered, different modes of transport were discovered. As the creation of hydroelectricity with the help of technology was introduced, the fast-flowing water has been identified as an important resource. Until then, it was not thought to be a very important resource. It was used only for irrigation. But when it began to be used to produce electricity, it became a very important resource. So we understand that resources are very important. And we can classify these resources into three: natural resources, human-made resources, and human resources. Let us learn about them in detail. What are natural resources? The resources which you can easily draw from nature and can use them directly without any further modification are natural resources. So we can say natural resources are naturally occurring substances that are useful. Of course, there are many substances in nature that are not useful. So far, they are not resources because they are not useful. We have a large number of natural resources. The water found in lakes and rivers, the air around us, minerals of different types, soils, all these are examples of natural resources. We use all these resources directly. These are also free gifts of nature. But don't think that they are free gifts. If you do not use carefully, it may become unusable. On the basis of their development and use, natural resources can be divided into two: actual resources and potential resources. What is these actual resources? Actual resources are resources whose quantity is known. We know how much of this resource is available on the earth. These are being used right now. Coal, petroleum, and the soil are good examples of actual resources. In case of potential resources, their quantity may not be known and they are not being used now. These resources could be used in future. At present, our technology has not developed enough to tap these resources easily. That's why we are unable to use them. But when we develop the technology to use them, they will become actual resources. The uranium found in Ladakh is a good example of potential resources. High-speed winds were a potential resources 200 years ago. Today, they are not potential resources, they are actual resources. Because we started using this resource when we got the technology to tap and use it. Now in India, we generate energy using windmills in Tamil Nadu and Gujarat. Based on their origin, resources are further divided into two: abiotic and biotic resources. Abiotic resources are non-living objects, while biotic resources are living objects. Soil, rocks and minerals are abiotic resources, but plants and animals are biotic resources. Further, natural resources are classified into renewable and non-renewable resources. Let us see what are they. Renewable resources are those resources which are capable of getting replenished or renewed quickly. Wind, water and solar energy are good examples of renewable resources. A small number of renewable resources are present in unlimited amounts, and any human activity can have no severe impact on such resources. But if you continue to use renewable resources such as soil, water or forest in a careless manner, their stock will be affected in a severe manner. They may be becoming unusable. Water is considered as a renewable resource and it is available in unlimited amounts. But water bodies are drying up in higher amounts in many parts of the world, and there is a severe shortage of water in most parts of the world today. It is because of the careless use of water in many parts of the world. People become careless while they use water. So we can say if renewable resources are not used carefully, they may be becoming unusable. Water is a good example for that. So this tells us that we should use renewable resources also very carefully. And now let us see about the non-renewable resources. What are non-renewable resources? Those resources whose stock is available in limited amounts in different parts of the world are non-renewable resources. If any of these resources gets exhausted, it will take thousands of years for them to get renewed or replenished. As this time period is more than that of the lives of human beings, these resources are called non-renewable resources. Petroleum, coal and natural gases are good examples of non-renewable resources. Natural resources are further divided into two based on their distribution: ubiquitous and localized resources. Resources like air and solar energy that are found everywhere are ubiquitous. But resources that are found in certain places are known as localized resources. Copper, iron ore and petroleum are good examples of localized resources. The distribution of these natural resources depends on several physical factors such as altitude, terrain and climate. Natural resources are not equally distributed on the earth because our earth has different physical features. The altitude, terrain and climate is not the same everywhere. That's why resources are not equally distributed all over the world. And that's all about natural resources. Now let us find out what human-made resources are. Certain natural resources take the form of a resource only when their original form is changed by humans. Earlier, people did not consider iron ore as a resource until they learned the method of extracting iron from this iron ore. Natural resources are used in making various man-made resources like vehicles, roads, bridges, buildings and machinery. All these are human-made resources. But to make them, we used natural resources. But natural resources were not used directly. There was the involvement of humans in turning them into some other resources. That's why they are human-made resources. Of course, the technology used for this is another important example of human-made resources. In the beginning, I told you that we, human beings, are also resources. Let us study about the human resources in detail. As people gain skills, knowledge and technical advancements, they start making good use of nature so that more resources could be created. This is the reason why humans are also considered as a very important resource. With the help of education and health, people are transformed into valuable resources. So what makes human beings a better resource? When they are educated and healthy, they become better resources. The improvement of different skills in humans in order to create more resources is known as human resource development. What should we do to improve different skills in humans? We give education, healthcare, and instill different skills in humans. Then they become very good resources. Of course, we have a lot of resources. When we have all these resources, there is a bigger responsibility in us that we have to conserve these resources. We have to safeguard these resources. We have to save these resources. Because these resources are not meant only for us. It is meant for the next coming generation as well. So we have to conserve these resources. Let us learn in detail about what is the necessity of conserving the resources. So what is resource conservation? Using natural resources carefully and giving them time so that they get replenished or renewed is called resource conservation. We say it is sustainable development. Sustainable development is the development that meets the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. So it is very important to know how we can conserve resources. Resources can be conserved in different ways. A person can contribute by reducing the use of resources, recycling the use of resources, and of course, reusing the resources. Since the life of every human being is connected with each other, making a difference ultimately matters. So we have to reduce, recycle, and reuse resources so that it can be preserved, it can be conserved for the coming generations. The future of our Mother Earth and its inhabitants depends on our ability to maintain it or ability to look after it. So it is the duty of every person to ensure that renewable resources are used in a sustainable manner. Diversity of life on the earth is conserved. Some easy ways of conserving resources are here. Make shopping bags with old newspapers or discarded cloths. Make baskets with bamboo sticks. Switch off electricity when not in use. Prevent wastage of water by checking leakages and closing taps when not in use. Reuse water for washing and watering plants. These are some principles of sustainable development. Respect and care for all forms of life. Improve the quality of human life. Conserve the earth's vitality or energy and diversity. Minimize the depletion or reduction of natural resources. Change personal attitude and practices towards the environment. Enable communities to care for their own environment. That's all the chapter. Now watch the video again, then read the chapter 1 of your geography textbook and make as many one-word questions and answers as possible. Send it to my WhatsApp number before 5 p.m. today. Thank you for watching.